There we are. Hello, Step It Uppers. This is your Thursday training. It's 10 a.m. If you're watching me live, hey, if you're watching me on a replay, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today, and actually the entire month of February, is about sharing the love. We're sharing you. So you notice in the calendar, it says like, share, thumbs up, comment. And that's because that's how we show that we like something, right? On social media, whether it's a blog or a podcast or a Facebook post or an Instagram, something, you're going to take action. And last week, if you watched last week's training in Facebook, I talked about KPIs and setting goals. And those are important if you want to know that your social media marketing efforts are actually working, doing something, right? And it's like when we talk to our couples and they say, how was your week? And they'll say, well, I think therapy's working. And you're like, well, how do you know? And they'll say, well, just because it is, or something, right? They'll have no way for my needs. I need to know exactly what's working, right? But for you as a business owner, we spend so much time on social media, scrolling, that if we then try to put that kind of unfocused energy into our marketing, it's going to burn you out. And that's not good, right? So last week, if you're the training for that is going to go into your profile today. So remember, we talked about your goal for any marketing, but especially social media, is either, or these are three that I thought of: positioning you as an expert in the community, generating phone calls, appointments, sales, or building your email list. So if you're somebody that sells big ticket items. So if you want to know more about that, the whys behind social media, check out that episode. You can either, if you're on Facebook and you don't want to leave, just scroll down. If you're watching this on a replay in your Step It Up Kate Walker Training profile, easy, especially if I posted it, just go and click and you can watch the replay of that training. Today, what I want you to leave with are, and I'm going to say the words, it's hard, but I can do it, actionable steps that you can do today. I want you to actually see the evolution of my editorial calendar. And that's why, if you were watching earlier, I was looking through my archive because I've changed. I started off in 2022. I did a lot, it wasn't very focused. And as the year went on, I got more focused. And this now 2023, I'm really super focused. And so I've got some folks in the mastermind group who are participating, and I show everything in the mastermind group. I build their stuff if they ask me. If you guys ask me, I'll help you build it, right? We got somebody joining. Awesome. But this training, you're still going to get great ideas. And as you watch the evolution of my editorial calendar, the other thing I'm going to talk about today that you're going to get a handle on is the importance of consistency and avoiding confusion, right? Consistency we strive for, confusion we avoid, right? Because the most valuable commodity in marketing, especially social media marketing, is someone's attention. People, especially, isn't Super Bowl this week, right? I just watch the commercials if I don't have a team in there that I like. Those folks who market spend so much money and they're purchasing your and my attention. That's what they're purchasing, right? So if you've got their commercial on, but you're also scrolling, guess what? They're not getting their money's worth. So make it a point to scroll while you're watching that commercial. All right. So let's start with, how do you get more clients in private practice? Well, number one, you market, right? And I imagine you're here watching this because you want to use social media. So the idea is your ideal client is out there and they're going to fall in love with you. Now, you are super lovable and you're amazing, but the reason they're going to fall in love with you is because you've done your homework. So back in grad school or whenever, you started to recognize that you were pretty good at some types of counseling. And then you figured out, wow, I'm pretty good at this. And I actually like the type of folks that come in. I seem to work well with them. They like me. We have high success rates. Oh my goodness, I found a niche or a niche. Whatever you want to call it. That is the jumping off point for doing your ideal client exercise. Now, I'm not doing that today. That's another podcast or another training or whatever. So Google that. Google ideal client exercise. And basically, it's going to be a worksheet that asks you a lot of questions about this person. We call it an avatar. So this avatar, where do they live? Where do they shop? Where do their kids go to school? What kind of shoes do they wear? What kind of handbag do they carry? Where do they go to the gym? Where do they go to work? Where do they hang out? What type of alcohol do they drink? Do they drink alcohol? Where do they go to church? So you're going to start to have this person that you are marketing to. Now, in all of my research, what I've read is this avatar is usually some version of us, right? It's like 10 years ago, us, or it's maybe us back when our kids were little, or maybe it's someone in our family or in our circle that we really relate to and we empathize with. So that ideal client is suffering with your niche and they need your help. So social media is a fabulous way to connect that ideal client with you because they're already searching because they're suffering. Okay. So yes, you are lovable. Yes, you are awesome. But when you do your homework and you design this avatar and you start creating content for them, they're going to search anyway. So you now just have to do the work with Google, SEO, all that to make sure they find you. So you've got, let's say this mom who is, let's say she's the mom of an ADHD teenager and she's pulling her hair out and she needs, it's February, right? So February and she's got spring break coming up and she's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Well, this is where your content calendar saves the day, right? So if you just press pause right now, if you're watching the replay and you just thought, okay, what are some things an ADHD or mom of an ADHD teenager would need before a vacation to the Grand Canyon? Like first thing that comes into my mind is like a leash, right? I have two of my 3 kids are ADHD, right? So I didn't even think about going to the Grand Canyon. Like that did not even make the list, right? Otherwise I could just see me leashes on everybody. But so when I came up with some ideas, here are 4, right? 5 fun activities for long car rides, helping your ADHD kiddo catch up on school after vacation, your ADHD vacation snack guide, 10 things you can say to curb compulsivity when you are visiting a hotel. I mean, I just came up with that off the top of my head when I was putting this blog and this content together. So your content calendar will help you start to look at the 12 months of the year and think to yourself, what does my avatar need in March? What does my avatar need in April? And yes, some months are easier than others, right? We just left the holiday season, right? So basically from October to December is kind of a gimme. It's like it's handed to you. That is low-hanging fruit. And there's more, right? So April, tax season. How do I distract my kids while I sit down and go through my receipts? I mean, I've got a million of them. Well, I challenge you to sit down and at least come up with one idea for your avatar, your ideal client, for each month of the year. Now, those 12 ideas are the start of your editorial calendar. Because remember, we're going to strive for consistency and we are going to avoid confusion. And when you consistently write for your avatar and you give them great content, you are going to avoid confusion, right? So if you plan on using social media platforms, the best way to confuse someone is to now this tweenage mom, man, she's not a tweenage mom. She's a mom of a tweenage ADHD kiddo, right? She's loving you, right? She has followed your Instagram. She has told people, oh my gosh, you got to watch this person. She is doing the greatest activities and fun things and whatever for, tweenage ADHD kiddos. And suddenly you get this wild hair and you want to share a crock pot recipe. Well, okay. If you work that into maybe giving you more time to help your ADHD kiddo with homework, awesome. But then you decide to spotlight your favorite dogs. Okay. Now the ADHD mom's going, oh, my kiddo's allergic to dog. I'll skip that this week. Then you think, well, kind of bored with ADHD kiddos and parents and family systems. I really feel drawn to emotional support animals and the people who need them. And suddenly you start putting that on your feed and your blogs and your podcast. Your editorial calendar is still the same, but you're giving mixed messages. Well, they're not even mixed. They're just not on point. Now you have confused your ideal client. Now, if they're not your ideal client anymore, if you have truly decided to change your niche and you have decided to go in a different direction, good on you. That's okay. Just expect that person to go, right? One of the stories I tell when I had my practice, achievebalance.org. I had a nice email list. And then I added Kate Walker Training, and I wanted to really promote Kate Walker Training. So started an opt-in to get emails. Well, I thought, well, I'll just take this email list and I will put it over here in this bunch, and 95% of them all unsubscribed, right? Because that's not what they signed up for. They signed up for information about infidelity or family or parenting. They signed up for specific information that I told them I would give them. That's why they opted in, right? It's okay, you got this, I want that, I'll sign up, okay, give me that. And when I took them someplace that they had no idea what a 40-hour training was to become a supervisor in Texas, just unsubscribe. No, not really my thing anymore. So, or in your email software, they'll just start calling those, those are poor leads. Those are 1-star leads. They're not active anymore in the email list. You're going to their spam folder and they don't even know you're there. So confusing, you can do that accidentally, or you can do it on purpose if you're changing niches, right? But the editorial calendar will make sure, if you're trying to avoid confusion, like I'm recommending, that every single bit of content is poised to land in your ideal client's inbox, newsfeed, TikTok land, whatever that is. Okay. So avoiding confusion is important if you want to keep that person in your audience and then have them build their audience, right? The idea of consistency is similar, right? There's the mom, she's scrolling. She's like, oh, she didn't post this week. Oh, well, and then maybe she has a crisis on the following Friday and she's like, oh gosh, she hasn't posted anything in 3 months. I got to find somebody else. That happens with blogs and podcasts as well. So for me, I set a date when my podcast drops. It's midnight on Thursdays. I'm not awake. I have no idea when it happens, but that's when it hits Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the things. It's like, it just goes out there. Also, I tie that in to a blog post, and I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you my back office. That is on a schedule to get launched Friday morning. So I batch, or I put a bunch of these podcast blogs together. So it all goes out on a particular day. I do it a month in advance though, right? And that's the other thing that the content calendar does. It kind of, this batching keeps you from pulling your hair out because it's Thursday and I have to get a podcast out. And Kate said I had to be consistent. And because you know what will happen, right? You've got somebody who's ready to go to the gym and get on the treadmill and like, oh, cool, I can listen to the brand new episode of Joe's, spot on, working with girls ages 14, I don't know, whatever. Oh, he didn't put it out. Okay, well, I'll go over here to this person. They're going to switch because they're headed to the treadmill, and that's their routine. They have a podcast they listen to. They have a YouTube channel they watch. They have a blog that they sit and read while they're walking, which I can't do because it kind of makes me seasick. If you are part of their routine, you're part of their life. When you interrupt that routine, I mean, unless you are just super specific, I mean, unless or super famous, right? Like I love Hidden Brain. And so, it doesn't matter if he doesn't post for a month. I'll go back and look at one of the old ones because I like his stuff so much. If you get to that level, forget what I'm saying. You're good. But until you get there, that consistency, it's almost like being part of someone's, family, right? It's like dinner time. We're all going to sit down for dinner and we're going to eat and we're going to talk about things. Your podcast, your blog, your posts become a part of your ideal client's routine long before they ever follow your call to action, that CTA I talked about last week, right? It takes a while for a client to achieve, a potential client to achieve an emotional connection with you before they finally follow through on your call to action. But they may have been doing a lot of clicks before that. Maybe they've clicked to download your free thing, right? That guide, that snack guide for the vacation to the Grand Canyon. Maybe they have clicked on some sort of a resource you recommend, right? You have an embedded link in your blog and they've clicked on that. There are ways to go to Google and see what your most popular pages are. So that's what I want to, that's what I'm going to show you now. So I'm looking to see if, Carrie, you said safety plan. I'm not sure what you mean by that. So if you write, I will try to, I'll try to catch that. I'm not sure what you mean by safety plan. But I'm listening. I want to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to share my screen. And as soon as I pull up my editorial calendar. And let's see if I can shrink this at all. Okay. So I'm showing you because I couldn't find my other ones in my archive, but this is the one I'm actually currently using. So this is a content calendar for an email schedule. So for those of you who try to put out consistent emails, and I'm going to show you kind of, let's see, I started this back in March and it looks like I was doing a practice challenge. So I had all of my emails mapped out. I had a guest expert. We had David Bueno Martin, and I had another expert for the Texas Supervisor Coalition, Dr. Jody Elder. In April, our guest expert was Jeffrey Gallup. So I had mapped out my emails to you guys, the Step It Uppers. I had a blog transcript planned. So you can see, as I got better at this, I really was able to plan ahead. And so I would try to get the next months completely filled out while I was in the current month. So let me stop the share and I'm going to open up my Trello board. And I may have shown you guys this last week because now what I use is a Trello board. But I mean, Google's is still awesome. I still enjoy Google. I mean, I think it's the spreadsheet I still use for my emails. I just don't use it for that broader picture. I can never find things fast under pressure. All right. So let me share screen and show you what this looks like. So I'll start with August. So August, I have a formula of emails. This is what, or I've changed this. So, but you can see so I'll show you the two parts, the formula, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. This would usually lead to some kind of a sale or a webinar. And then what I'm selling or what I'm featuring, I would put here in the topic. So we've got major topics for September. Are you ready to become a supervisor? So we ran a flash sale on the 40-hour supervisor training. We combined the supervisor training with a business course. In October, we had the Bridging the Gap webinars where we were working, giving graduate students lots of great information about, bridging the gap from grad school to LPC associate. And I believe we were, that's right, that was the grand opening of the podcast. And we may have even done a flash sale on the Step It Up membership. November, Texas Counseling Association conference, and I was selling tickets to the mastermind. So that was the big ticket course. So you can see how this all goes for me, right? As a course salesperson, my focus is on selling different things by month. So for you, since you're not selling something new or maybe you are, but if you, as a counselor, as a mental health professional, you replace here this topic at the top with your niche and what are they doing this month, right? So if your niche is, like we mentioned before, a parent of an ADHD teenager, what's happening in November? Well, a lot of things could be happening in November. They could, they're on their 45th school party because of, the breaks involved and the, teachers wanting to put in a movie, or so there's lots of opportunities to be distracted. They could be, getting ready for their religion's holiday. Maybe there are issues with, food changing, with more traditional foods, and that's messing with the kiddo. I mean, I could go on, right? So November, December, every single month, if you're using Trello or if you're using the Excel spreadsheet like I was using in Google, you write what your ideal client is suffering through. We call that a pain point. Right? Because your marketing is going to start from the place of the pain, and then you're going to let them know how you solve that. Now, pain points, all of that good stuff. Just to let you know, Badass Basics, the spring semester is open. If that's something you're interested in, don't forget, I sent out an email this week. I'm doing a flash sale. By the way, you're being marketed to right now. I started the flash sale. It's going to end February 17th. Enrollment closes February 28th. So look for more emails about that, because that's what I do. I sell courses. All right, so that's it. Next Thursday is our training is going to be on, a current client is following me on social media. So I will get into that. Let me check. All right. Oh, I see, Carrie, you were talking about if I took my ADD kids to the Grand Canyons, have a safety plan. Yeah. All right, I'm turning off the recording and I'm going to answer questions. Thanks for watching. Stay here though. I'm just waving because that's the replay end. All right.